The 2025 NBA Finals just got a whole lot more interesting. The Oklahoma City Thunder, the #1 seed, found themselves on the brink of a near insurmountable 3-1 deficit not once, but twice in these playoffs. First, it was Game 4 of the Western Conference semifinals against the Denver Nuggets, where they rallied from 8 points down. And on Friday night, they faced almost the exact same situation, down 7 points to the Indiana Pacers in Game 4 of the NBA Finals. Once again, the Thunder survived, but honestly, looking back, it's hard to figure out exactly how. This was a messy win, filled with glaring issues for OKC. They shot a dismal 3 for 17 from three-point range, meaning they were outscored by a staggering 24 points from beyond the arc. They finished with more turnovers, 13, than assists, 10. Their MVP, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, was a relative non-factor for much of the game, and coach Mark Daigneault's decision to return to the two-big lineup with Isaiah Hartenstein alongside Chet Holmgren just didn't work. But then, the Thunder summoned a truly remarkable 12 minutes with their season on the line. In that final quarter, OKC shot an incredible 9 for 15 from the field, outscored the Pacers 31-17, committed a single turnover, and grabbed 4 crucial offensive rebounds. And at the center of it all was their MVP. SGA's MVP statement: "He's the MVP in this series." For much of the night, nothing came easily for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Getting the ball was a chore, let alone making something happen once he had it. The Thunder had been outscored by 16 points during his 29 minutes through 3 quarters. They were trailing by 7 entering the fourth. A frightening situation against an Indiana team that was 9-1 in clutch games this postseason. But the MVP delivered when the Thunder needed it most. Just like he did in Game 4 in Denver, Gilgeous-Alexander scored 15 of his 35 points in the fourth quarter, including a decisive 11 points in the final 2:58. None were more important than his off-dribble baseline step-back to give Oklahoma City the lead for good with just 2:23 remaining. It was the type of tough, gritty performance that defines champions and legacies. He may not have recorded a single assist all game, but his clutch shot-making proved he is the MVP in this series. The Pacers' rare clutch collapse. This is a huge takeaway. The Indiana Pacers are the team whose identity is making late-game charges and wearing down opponents. Yet, for a rare time in these playoffs, they did neither. This was eerily reminiscent of Game 3 of the Eastern Conference Finals against the New York Knicks, when Indiana allowed Karl Anthony Towns to match their 24th quarter points by himself, and New York came back to win. The key difference, however, is that the Pacers were up 2-0 in that series and had a chance to go up 3-1 at home, which they did then. This time, the stakes were much higher. The Pacers had a golden opportunity to take a commanding 3-1 lead back to Oklahoma City with a chance to bring the Larry O'Brien Trophy to Indiana for the first time. Instead, that golden opportunity slipped through their grasp. As ESPN's Tim Bontemps astutely put it, if Oklahoma City goes on to win the NBA title, a total of 24 minutes, those 12 in Denver, and these 12 on Friday night, will be the reasons why. Counting on clutch magic is not sustainable, especially against OKC. With 3:20 left in the fourth quarter, the Pacers went up 103-99 on a Tyrese Halliburton layup. And for a team that has been so good in the clutch all postseason long, it looked primed to seize control of this series. But Oklahoma City turned up its historically stingy defense when they needed it most, and it saved their season. The Pacers scored just a single point during the remainder of the game. According to ESPN research, the Thunder contested 83% of shots in the fourth quarter Friday, and the Pacers were outscored in the period, 31-17. This spoiled what had been a brilliant defensive game for Indiana for 3 quarters, which had effectively turned Oklahoma City into an ISO-heavy offense. Asked post-game how the team fought back, Gilgeous-Alexander said, "Simply, it starts with stops. What to watch for in Game 5. With the series now tied 2-2 and shifting back to Oklahoma City for Game 5 on Monday night. Here are the crucial adjustments and storylines to watch. Thunder lineup changes. Despite evening the series, coach Mark Daigneault might be looking at another change for Game 5. The starting duo of Isaiah Hartenstein and Chet Holmgren clearly didn't work, as OKC was outscored with them on the court in both halves. Daigneault had a quick hook for the group in the third quarter, going to what has been the Thunder's best lineup all season, with Alex Caruso in place of Hartenstein alongside the starters. All Caruso did was score 20 points on 7 of 9 shooting with 5 steals. And Oklahoma City was plus 14 in his 30 minutes of action. With a maximum of 3 games left, there's no reason left to save Caruso. Unlocking SGA off ball, with 2 days off, the Thunder can do more to unlock Gilgeous-Alexander in an off-ball role. Andrew Nembhard has relentlessly pressured him bringing the ball up court, forcing heroic shot-making. More off-ball screens or dribble handoffs could get SGA the ball with a head of steam and create easier opportunities. Pacers response. It's somewhat more challenging to find obvious adjustments for the Pacers, who seemed to have their game plan dialed in for much of the night. However, it was Indiana that seemed to tire late in Game 4, and their three-pointers dried up, missing all 8 long-distance attempts in the fourth quarter after shooting 39% over the first 3. Also, Benedict Mathurin's missed free throws in the final minute stalled Indiana's hope of another late comeback. We'll see whether Indiana can find that late-game peak again in Game 5. This series has already lived up to the hype, and now that it's tied 2-2, Game 5 becomes the absolute swing game. Which team will seize the momentum and take control? Let us know your predictions in the comments below. Alright, NBA fans. Game 4 of the NBA Finals was an absolute classic, with the Oklahoma City Thunder pulling off a remarkable comeback against the Indiana Pacers to tie the series at 2-2. Let's break down the biggest takeaways. The Thunder once again stared down a 3-1 series deficit, much like they did in the Western Conference semifinals. And once again, they survived. But how? OKC shot a dismal 3 for 17 from 3, had more turnovers than assists, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was relatively quiet for 3 quarters. Yet, in the fourth, the Thunder found another gear, outscoring the Pacers 31-17, committing just 1 turnover, and grabbing crucial offensive rebounds. The biggest reason? Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Despite being limited for much of the game, SGA exploded for 15 of his 35 points in the final 4.5 minutes. He hit the 2 biggest shots of his career back-to-back, a clutch 3 and a baseline step-back jumper that gave OKC the lead for good, ultimately scoring 15 of the Thunder's final 16 points. His legendary clutch performance, reminiscent of Michael Jordan, solidified his MVP status in this series. For the Pacers, it was a golden opportunity lost. Known for their late-game charges, they eerily faltered in the fourth, scoring only a single point in the final minutes after Tyrese Halliburton's layup put them up by 4. Their previously brilliant defense couldn't hold up, and key mistakes, like Benedict Mathurin's missed free throws, proved costly. Looking ahead to Game 5 in Oklahoma City, expect potential adjustments from coach Mark Daigneault. His 2 big lineup with Isaiah Hartenstein and Chet Holmgren struggled. The Thunder's best lineup, with Alex Caruso in place of Hartenstein, was a plus 14 in Game 4, and Caruso himself delivered 20 points and 5 steals. With the series on the line, there's no reason to hold back Caruso now. Also, look for the Thunder to try and get SGA more involved off-ball to counter Andrew Nembhard's relentless pressure. For the Pacers, it's about regaining their late-game magic. Their three-pointers dried up in the fourth, and they looked fatigued, despite Rick Carlisle's extensive bench use. Indiana needs to find a way to peak late again if they want to seize control of this series back from the Thunder. Game 5 is Monday, and it's a must-watch.